That's the sound of Squid from their new album, Cowards. We caught up with vocalist, drummer, lyricist Ollie Judge and guitarist, songwriter Anton Pearson just before release day and talked to them about making this collection of songs that touch on cruelty, cowardice, and cannibalism. But first, what's on the menu for release day?
Frank's my friend.
We're gonna go out for a curry tomorrow, celebrate. And then on the day, we are traveling up to Manchester to record a radio session. So the work never stops,
Yes.
basically.
And then you hit the road starting on the 17th, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got a UK tour and then a European tour.
Alrighty. So the album itself, it's called Cowards. There's a song called Cowards. There's kind of an overarching theme about evil. And what would you consider it, quote unquote, a concept album? Is that fair to say, or is that overreaching a bit?
I think that's going a bit further than what it is.
Okay.
I think I think for a concept album, everything would have to be speaking to one thing, and I think there's a few differences with our album in that we wrote all the music, well, most of the music before we came up with any sort of like lyrical themes. So the music's not really about what the lyrics are about in that way.
Right.
Not that they didn't inform each other in a lot of different ways, but it's just that we didn't like set out with a mission statement at the start of writing the record, being like, we're going to write music about this.
Yep.
And then also, while that is a kind of theme that runs across the lyrics, like I think all of them are kind of like about slightly different stories within that theme, rather than like all being like connected or all part of the same world. It's kind of like yeah, they're kind of like little short stories that have a thread, rather than like feeling like they're all about the same place or same person or same, if you know what I mean. So
yeah.
Yeah,
this being your third album, is this how you normally work? Is this how you worked on the other two, with making the music first and then adding the lyrics and whatever?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same process in that all the music's written completely collaboratively, and it all comes from like little jams we have together, and just using the bits from those that we think are interesting, and then little bits of lyrics from Ollie or whoever's writing the lyrics come out of that. Yeah.
Okay. And so from there, Ollie, I guess take it away as far as what were you thinking? How did you approach the lyrics? Does what you hear from what they came up with affect your lyrics, or is it a separate entity on its own?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're always quite interested in kind of like juxtaposing things, I guess. Like some of the music was sounding pretty kind of like I don't know, childlike is kind of maybe the only word that I can think of right now.
Whimsical.
Whimsical. Yeah.
Okay.
The music was sounding quite whimsical.
Right.
Like I kind of wanted to write lyrics that are the complete opposite of that. And yeah, it's the first record that we've kind of taken a chunk of time off to write. So I found it easier to fall into routine, which we haven't done before. So like we'd write kind of most days of the week, and then I'd have a day off at home and go to a cafe and write lyrics. So I think that kind of routine of a semi kind of normal structured job kind of really helped.
Right. And my understanding is that most of the lyrics and songs are kind of based on books that you've read recently, and that goes so far as to you guys have actually launched the library where you're selling secondhand copies of the books that influenced the songs. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. I think kind of the the books kind of acted as kind of springboards for the lyrics,
Right.
like trying to replicate certain moods from the books and yeah, using them as kind of starting points and then kind of exploring our own kind of interpretations of what we were reading about. So it's kind of yeah, like like really inspired by these stories, but kind of mangled and and definite kind of left turns and stuff.
Are you voracious readers, all of you?
You're a listener, aren't you, Anton? You listen to a lot of
Yeah,
audiobook.
I can't read in the van because it makes me sick. So
I've heard that
I,
one before, yeah.
so I do audiobooks. Yeah, I don't think anyone in the world reads as much as they'd like to.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, we read a bit.
Okay, very good. And of course, there's a few tracks that have been emerged already. Crispy Skin, the opening track, is out and about. And from what I understand, it's inspired by a book called Tender is the Flesh. And there's some cannibalism involved in all of this. So what's going on there?
Not a bad one. Yes, I am. I couldn't eat another thing. No more pages and pages of crispy skin.
Yeah, incredibly dark book. Um, but in my opinion, a very kind of funny ending.
Okay.
That might just be my opinion, I don't know. But yeah, I was kind of really drawn into that world. It felt like kind of felt like the movie 28 Days Later
All
or
right. Yeah.
Children of Men. It kind of evoked that kind of grey, kind of apocalyptic uh world that still resembles some kind of normality, I guess. And yeah, I'm always really interested in kind of those kind of post-apocalypses that aren't too kind of, you know, obvious.
Right.
A little bit more kind of uneasy and unsettling. Um, and yeah, I haven't really heard a track about cannibalism, so I felt like a badge of honor, I guess.
I think there was a song called Timothy that was a big hit by a group called The Boys back in the early 70s. But that might have been about them eating their horse instead of each other. I can't remember.
Nice. We'll
Well,
have
other
to
than
do
that, yeah, you're probably got the market cornered on that, yeah.
it.
And in general, with the shows coming up, do you see these songs taking on different forms and shapes when you play them live than what we hear on the record?
Yeah, definitely. I think yeah, we've got some plans and um yeah, we've worked really hard on replicating these tracks live. Some of them are uh, near identical and some of them not so much. Yeah, I'm like really excited to play the new tunes. I'm usually like um overcome with nerves whenever we play new tracks, but these ones are yeah, really exciting. They're just like the right amount of difficult and rewarding to play, I think. Um yeah, I think we're going to play most of it on the tour. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's exciting.
All right. And what do you kind of do you have, is there much audience interaction between you guys and your fans or people that come out to see you? Do you connect on some level other than just the way the music hits them? Do you think?
Mm. Well, sometimes we chat to people after shows, and people are generally really, really nice. And uh, yeah, yeah. I mean, I get, yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if
It's
is that the normal level of connection? I think so.
Well, everybody's
Anton.
different. So, some
Yeah.
people love that stuff and some people will like run away and hide in the green room. So, all
Yeah, it depends how we're feeling each night. I think sometimes after a show you just want to do nothing.
right. And
Yeah.
on the record, I think you use somebody called the Ruisi Quartet quite a bit. Who are they and why are they there?
They're a string quartet based in London,
Uh-huh.
uh, and they're really good at what they do. They've done work with like Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead before,
Uh-huh.
um, and they, yeah, so they can do like a really good mix of playing your parts really, really well in terms of like written things that you've written, but then also they've got kind of like a more experimental and improvisatory thing going for them as well. So like there's a mixture of parts that we'd written for them that they just played, and then parts that were kind of up for interpretation and just kind of like feeling music and coming up with some crazy sounds that some of which we kind of processed afterwards and chopped up and moved around and things like that.
Right.
So that they brought like quite a unique flavor to the music, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of processing, it's something you guys, from what I understand, do quite a bit. Like on Fieldworks One, there's processed harpsichord. How much fiddling around do you guys like to do with the instruments? Is it something that everyone takes part in?
Switching places was great fun. Oh, my twisted buns, they felt straight for once.
I think Arthur's the biggest he's the biggest fiddler in Squid. Um, uh, he likes he's very, very interested in details and has a lot of patience for very small details that perhaps the rest of us don't. So um, yeah, he's and also he does like most of the keys based stuff in Squid. So
Right.
lots of kind of like creating sampler instruments and processing little sounds. He's quite heavily involved in. I think we all take part in that sort of stuff, but I think I'm probably Ollie as well, a bit more of a sort of broad brushstrokes kind of guys, whereas
Okay.
that'll
That'll
do.
do.
Yeah. I think that's a good part of the balance, because if we were all getting into like the tiny details, we'd never get anything done. But if we didn't have people like Arthur really getting into them, then we wouldn't have like the really unique intricacies of the music, which
Right.
is like such an important part of it. So like we've got a good mix of personalities. Yeah.
All right. And speaking of personalities, you have there are a team of producers and engineers that work with you on this. Tell me a little bit about them and what they bring to the table.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of people on this one. It was yeah, it went through lots of different channels. So yeah, we initially knew that we wanted to work with a different producer because we've worked with Dan Carey for every kind of release we've done, really.
Right.
It's like nothing against his production or him at all. It was just we just wanted to see if something else worked as well.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we worked with Marta Solongi and an engineer called Grace Banks. And they were fantastic. They were kind of it was bit of a different kind of process to working with Dan. It was like they both kind of let us come to our own conclusions with ideas and um, kind of not hands off because it was, it was very much hands on, but kind of a less kind of a less intense recording process than say with Dan. Again, not in a bad way,
Yep.
just more laid back. So yeah, that was really fun, and we're big fans of Marta's work. I think it's amazing, kind of, that she's got so much under her belt. Like there's amazing kind of music concrete, and then works with kind of pop stars and Depeche Mode and stuff. It's got a really
All
kind
right.
of broad palette. Yeah, and then we worked with John McIntyre again, doing the mixing, and he like really made the whole album kind of like sparkle and feel like it was suddenly in kind of high definition. And yeah, it was just a total pleasure. And then we got Dan to do some extra little bits because we thought, why not?
Why not? And was that a band decision? Did you guys like interview people to see who you should talk to? And was there a lot of discussion among you? How does that process work within the band?
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion. Um, Maybe too much.
Maybe too much. Yeah.
Agree.
No, I mean, like it's like totally collaborative project. So it's like we try and make all the decisions together, which is part of the reason why it took so long to get this record out because every little thing has to be checked by everyone. Um, so yeah, I mean, it wasn't like we kind of came up with who we wanted to work with, and we ended up working with them. It wasn't like we were like interviewing loads and loads of people and trying
Right.
things out with loads and loads of people. We were very lucky in that the people that we um, wanted to work with us as well. So that was great, and
Cool.
everything kind of worked out in terms of people's timelines and other projects that got going on because everybody's busy.
Uh-huh. All righty. I have a feeling we're running out of time. Hopefully, I just want to touch on one more song, Blood on the Boulders, which there's a California theme about it of some description. And you mentioned Brian's getting interviewed, and I was thinking it might be Brian Wilson because of Beach Boys and all that. So maybe you can elaborate on what would you like to tell me about that track?
The California sun on my face, all those drugs, they fucked her brain. They pushed it down in the ravine. No thought for wildlife, saloon serene.
I think we spent a lot of time in America over the past 2 years. Like when you actually tot it up, it's like I've spent almost like half a year of my whole life in America,
All right.
and, and that can often be amazing, but it can often, depending on where you are, be quite uh terrible.
Right. Yes. Well, I grew up
Um,
there, so I know what you're talking about.
Um, I mean, true of any place, I guess. But yeah, I just really wanted to write some lyrics, kind of like about America. I've never done that before, and when I think America, I think of Charles Manson,
Of course.
um, the most famous celebrity in the whole of American history. So, um, so yeah, I just wanted to write a song about that. And I'm not gonna give away who the true Brian is. I'll
Okay,
let
that's fine. No, we got to
I'll
keep
let
secrets.
people keep guessing about
All right. Well, the things have, I mean, who knows what's going on over there now? So it's got to be
that.
a strange thing going. going back there, I assume you'll be touring there at some point in the not too distant future. So
Yeah, definitely.
if the tariff thing works out right and everything else knows what's going on.
If we're allowed in, yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys consider yourselves political animals? Do you follow world politics and local politics and all that stuff?
Yes, but we wouldn't consider the band as like a really political band.
Right.
Yeah.
We're definitely a bit scared and worried about what's going on in America, because they're all awful, those people running that country. But yeah, we're not like setting out as a band to make it our mission to change things. We're just having fun making music, and that's it.
Right. Okay. Well, I hope it changes for the better eventually, because who knows?
Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah. Terrifying.
Getting noisy out the back here. It's cleaning the streets behind me.
Nice.
Now I know what happens at midnight down here. Very good. All righty. Well, I'll let you guys go. Thank you very much for spending time talking to me. Good luck with the record. Have fun on record release day with that curry and everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah, we always have fun with curry.
If you enjoyed this episode of the 13th Floor's Music Talk series, please be sure to subscribe to the website or to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. There's a whole lot more to discover.